Hello and welcome everyone to Extension Mania.
Should be fun. How's it, Rachel? How are you?
I am doing great, Anthony. It's so good to be with you here again. Truly international experience for our friends, both in our Facebook group and on our YouTube channel here today with GEG Virtual. And we have the awesome opportunity here to be talking about all of the things that can extend the functionality of our Chrome browser.
Yeah, and that's the really powerful thing about these little tools that we're going to be showing today is that they really customize the Chrome experience for the user. So that's what I love about them. And it's why when I saw a request on the group to do this, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Just while we're starting, I have put up Ask a Question on Google Slides. We're trying it out for the first time, I think. So the link is on the top of the slide. So if you have a question that you need us to answer, or if we can answer it, we just post it there, post it in the comments, post it on YouTube. We'll check all of those details.
Yeah, so go ahead and let us know where you're watching from. We'll be happy to welcome you. And I believe you can both post comments on Facebook and on Google or on YouTube at either one, and we'll be able to see them.
Touch wood. Let's try it out. So should we get into it?
Absolutely.
And let's talk about, first of all, what extensions are, just so that people understand. So basically, they're small software programs that are customizable. It allows you to customize your experience. A lot of them are developed through GitHub, which is Google's repository for code. The thing that's really important here is, and it's on the screen right now, that an extension must fulfill a single purpose. So you'll find very few extensions that do more than one or two really specific things. So if they're doing a screenshot, they might do 4 or 5 different screenshots, but there will be a screenshot extension. If they're doing a recording extension, they will do recording. They're not going to be like a screenshot and a recording and this and that. So they are very specific pieces of code. Okay, and they're pushed out through the Chrome web store. For those who don't know, if you have a new tab, you look at the top right hand side for apps. Okay, and you click on that and you just jump into the web store there. And once you're in there, and hopefully my internet responds, that's where you'll find them all. On our slideshow, this QR code will take you there. There are QR codes for everything, so hopefully that helps out. I see I'm very red in the face from the slide.
And I'll just pop in too, if you have a mobile device that you have handy, usually just on an iPhone anyway, the camera, you point the camera at the QR code and the little notification will pop down from the top of the screen and you'll just have to click it and it will take you to the web address that QR code is pointing to.
Remembering that if you do that, you'll just have to send an email reminder to yourself because you can't install these on mobile devices. They are specifically for Chrome on PCs or Macs. And Chromebooks, of course. Let's not leave those out.
Cool. Anything that can run Chrome, usually.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Well, I suppose an iPad and a mobile phone can, but it needs to be Chrome desktop version.
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of things that we got to talk about before we get into it, Rach. First of all, there are 3 levels of permissions that you can give to Chrome extensions, and there are sometimes, and are more and more as Google curates these, given very specific alert categories: high alert, medium, and low alert. So high alert means they get lots of access to your Google, so they'll get into your Drive, your mail, and all sorts of things like that. So you can be really careful about installing. Medium, slightly less, and low alert means they hardly affect your Drive or your Google experience at all, and they're the safest ones to install. Low alert also means they have been curated by Google, and even if they get in access, you will be safe using that extension. Okay. Secondly, do your research before you install. Make sure it's a reliable Chrome extension. I've popped an article. We'll share the slide deck eventually so that everybody can get it, and there's an article there about how to look for safe extensions. And then probably most importantly, extensions do slow down your Chrome. So the more you install, the slower your Chrome is going to get. So, and that's both in terms of CPU usage and in rendering your pages, so how quickly things load, especially if those extensions are there to affect a page. So if it's going to change the usability of a page, and we'll talk about some of those later. So if you're going to use lots of extensions, use an extension manager and switch the ones that you need on and off. I believe you use one, so we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Okay, look for extensions that have lots of users. Linus Tech Tips teaches me that, if anybody watches that. Look for extensions that have lots of users. There are some very niche or specific ones that will have a few users. Look for ratings then, and be very aware of false reviews when that sort of thing is happening. You find a lot of cloned extensions. Sort of OneTab is a great example. There's OneTab, the original, and about 4 or 5 others that have just been cloned. So the GitHub code has been copied, and you've got to be careful of that. And then finally, if you're an admin, you can turn on and off the ability to install extensions. You can install them across the domain if it's something really awesome, or you could block those extensions for a domain. So there is admin control for all of that stuff. Okay. I've not seen any questions coming through yet, so nope. Let's see how it goes. Moving back across here. So let's get into it. This is probably one of my favorite ones. It's Google Docs Quick Create, and basically it creates new documents for Google Drive from your browser bar. So it's just a little piece of code that installs at the top of your browser. You click on it, and it gives you just 2 clicks. So you click on it, and you click on the document, spreadsheets, presentations, forms, or drawings, and it'll open a new one of those for you. I don't know if you've used it before.
Not this one. I'm a huge fan of typing docs.new.
Yeah. But sometimes typing is just a bit of a pain. I just reach up, click, and it's done.
Yes.
So docs.new works, and there's a whole lot of shortcuts, but this one I use quite a lot, especially when it's on the fly and I'm walking around. Yeah. Okay. This does support Google Apps domains. Some extensions don't work in Google Apps domains, but this one does. And all the ones that I've installed here I use them on my school account. I'm not going to show you all of them because they have to take a while, but some really cool ones I might demonstrate as we go through. And feel free to jump in with your screen and demonstrate some that you like as well, right?
Sure.
Cool. Another awesome one is Save to Google Drive. This allows you to save content to Google Drive in various ways. So you can save them, it's configurable. So you can save websites to your drive. It'll save it as a web shortcut or into Google Doc. And it's a great way when you're doing research and stuff, just to have stuff go into a specific document or specific folder in your drive, because you can aim you can aim it to a specific folder in your drive, and it'll save all that content into that folder. And it can be websites, it can be docs that you found, all sorts of stuff. It'll just save it into the same folder.
Yeah, it's been really helpful for things. I think PDFs, especially for me, when I find something that's a PDF that I want to save and don't necessarily want to download it right to my computer or be able to access it from everywhere. That is definitely a very easy tool to use. Click, download, and then it'll be there. Definitely.
It's I use it a lot. It's always there for me. So, and that's the great thing about Chrome extensions. They're just there, and they sort of in the background. You switch them on and off as you need them, and off you go. All right. We're going quite quickly, but we'll demonstrate a few of these as we go through as time passes. So let's click back here. Probably one of my favorite ones. I think I've put it into this. It's so good I've put into this twice. I just realized I put it in the honorable mentions later on. I use Google Keep a lot. I use it for a whole bunch of stuff. I find it a vital tool because it's built into everything. And this one just allows you to, again, like the Google Drive one, allows you to save things directly into your Keep as notes. So it's 2 different use cases. I find I use Keep for stuff that I'm spur of the moment, checking things out. When I know I'm looking for something, I'll stick it into my Drive. So I use it for 2 slightly different use cases. The Google Drive extension, so this one here, it's for long-term research. I keep it there. It's not the top of my list anymore. I might come back to it in a year's time or a little while. Stuff that I'm going to work on straight away goes into Google Keep, and that way I can keep track of exactly where I am. It's really cool. You just click on it and it's up and running. And if you use Keep, this is a no-brainer. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I usually use it, like you said, for things I want to get back to right away. Because I always, well, not always, but I have Keep open on my machine a lot of the time because there are things that I frequently reference. And I love having that sidebar in Google Apps too, because then you can pop it open and anything that you have saved in Google Keep, you can bring into your docs or your slides.
Absolutely, and that's amazing, and even straight from email. So the whole ecosystem, they've grown it so much that it's having all the little things across all the different platforms is really powerful. Okay, send from Gmail. This is one of my favorite. What this is if you're on a website, for instance, you click on send from Gmail, it pops open a new window. with a Gmail composing window with the title of the website and then the link to the website in it, and you can just type your email around that link. So instead of having to open Gmail and find the right person, just like send from Gmail. It takes all the details from that from the website, puts them into the body of the email, and you can send it to whoever you want to. I use this a lot for sending sort of events to colleagues, new research bits, or something awesome that I've found, just sending it out to colleagues and letting them know about it. It also works in your Google Drive. So if you have a document you want to send out via link, you in your Google Drive with that document open, you say send via Gmail. It puts the link to that document into your Gmail. Just be careful that you've got it with anyone with the link can view.
I was just going to say, does it change your permissions for you as well? Because that would be even better.
And that would be, maybe we should reach out to, this is developed by Gmail, so by
Okay.
Google. So it might be worth popping it out to them and saying, guys, that would be cool.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah.
it might have. I haven't used it to do that one specifically in a while. So it's always worth an experiment and seeing if it does change. It didn't about a month ago. So, but Google's constantly changing, so it's
True.
It's old thumbs. Again, everybody, if you want to, you have a QR code to have a look at. And again, don't forget the questions. I talk a lot, and I talk really fast. It's just the way I am. So if you have anything and you need me to pause, just ask me. And remember, you can ask questions on slides at the top. Okay. Happy so far?
I think we're doing well. My cat also enjoys our work today.
Our adopted cat just left, so.
Yeah.
Okay, and then another one that I use this one, but there's dozens of these in the Chrome Web Store, is a quick QR code generator. It's the one that I use to create the QR codes on these. And literally you just click up, and I'll show everybody, I've got it installed on here. Click up, and it creates a QR code for whichever website you're on. You can then download it. You can get a high def one. You can add a logo into it. You can bulk create. And then with settings, you can change color and everything. Not that you really need to change the color of your QR codes, but maybe Slides Mania, what's the lady's name at Slides Mania? She'd use one and change it to the color of the theme of her slides, because she's awesome that way. But and then you just download it, and you just drag and drop it back into your presentation, onto your Google Doc, wherever you want it, and it's quick and it's easy, and there's lots of them. So find the one that you like and go for it. Do you use this sort of thing?
I have a URL shortener that I use, and that's what it's called, URL shortener. And not only does it shorten the URL, but it does the QR codes as well.
Oh, excellent. The other thing that I really like is often in class when you're presenting on a big screen, and the kids have mobile devices, all you do is you go, guys, I need you on this website, click that up, they scan the device and scan the code of the device, and then they're where they need to be. So instead of having to put it through Classroom or email them, if you're just doing a quick, I teach code. So often on Scratch, I'll look up something for the kids to work through, and there's an example, and they just scan this and they can get to that example. So I use it quite a lot just live in class, which is quite fun.
There we go. Sorry.
No problem. Noisy cat.
Yes. You should be taken out of here now.
Sending messages on the sly.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
I like it. Cool. This is definitely one of my favorite extensions of all. Tabcloud. Have you seen this? Have you used it?
I've used something similar, which
Okay.
I think if I look, it might be coming up here. Yes, it is coming up, so I won't spoil it. It does something similar, but not this exact thing.
So what I love about Tabcloud is it allows you to save a Windows session. So for instance, if I click on it now, I'm not logged in because I don't use it on this public account very often. But when you're logged in, you'll notice that at the top here, it's pulled through the tabs that are over here. Excluding the Chrome store, it won't generally pull that through. And all you actually does, they are there. So there's I've got two instances open. And basically what you can do is you could name this extension Mania. So you could pre-plan. Trainers love this I love this as a trainer because I can pre-plan the websites I'm going to go do a seminar on or whatever it is, and they'll all be there. Once you click save, it'll save that, and this minus will turn into plus button. And if you click the plus button, it'll pop up all those tabs that you've saved. So that it just opens a new instance of Chrome, and all your tabs are then aligned, ready to go. I use this a lot, especially with planning lessons, when I've got 3 or 4 websites to go through, or 5 or 6, or if I'm doing, again, research where I've got, I'm one of those people that opens 40 tabs at a time, and I use this, and the next one's going to help with that as well. But this one is really great because it just helps you out with that, the mess of tabs that you get in your life, and you can organize them into those groups. In fact, what I might do, just see if it logs in on my personal account, and I will pull it across so that you can all have a look at how it works. So let's just grab that onto the screen. Alrighty, so this is my school account. Again, with Tabcloud, you'll see it's got a whole bunch. And if I click on what I was training the staff in the other day, you'll see it becomes a plus button. I could name these ones. You click plus, opens Chrome, and then it pops open all those windows that I've saved and just loads them up in the background, which is super helpful.
Yeah, I can imagine a teacher saying, okay, I need my student information system, I need the school website, I need my Google Classroom, I need my Gmail open, like the things I open every morning right away. I can stick all those things together and with the click of a button have them all open up at the same time.
Yeah, and people say that that's built into Chrome because you can do that in Chrome. The nice thing is this is very quick and easy to change, and as soon as you don't want them anymore, you select the delete button. I could click minus here and they'd go away. So it's quite handy. I really use this one a lot. Whenever I'm planning for a session, whether it's a webinar or a live event or whatever it is, I have this open, ready to go. So I open my computer, fire up Chrome, click on the tabs, and there they are. I use them for lessons. I use this a lot. It's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, I can imagine you could even have a group for, say, each section of a class that you teach, and figure out where they are. Yeah.
The other thing is, because it's Chrome, as soon as you sign into another computer, it pulls all those tabs onto whichever computer you are. So if you do go to a seminar, it happened to me once. I was presenting at EdTech Summit, forgot my computer at home, believe it or not. I had my iPad and my phone, but no computer. I just logged onto somebody else's machine, logged into my account, and everything was there. So that was super handy.
Prevents some presenter anxiety there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little backup. Everybody needs a backup, and that's really good. Alrighty. Damn, I didn't retitle this one. I'm so sorry. I'll fix that later. This is actually called Mute Tab, not sent from Gmail. There's always got to be one mistake in every presentation. So I'll jump out. Oh, maybe I should. No, I won't do that now because then my questions will go away. So Mute Tab allows you to literally bring that functionality back of being able to mute individual tabs. And once you've installed it, all you do is when you're on a tab, the extension will be here. You click on it and it'll mute that tab. I find that really cool for when I'm running 3 or 4 Google Meets or breakout rooms for Google Meets. All the kids talking to each other, I just mute each of the tabs and I can jump in and out of the conversations as I want. And it mutes that specific tab. So if you're on this tab and you click Mute Tab, it'll mute Apps tab. If you click on that one and mute, it'll mute the next tab. It doesn't mute the whole thing, which is what the current version of Chrome does.
Yeah, I was going to say, currently it says mute site. So correct. Anything you would have open in Meet would automatically be muted. And then if you wanted to unmute something, it would unmute all of them.
All of them, exactly. So this is specifically for your mute tabs. Again, I'll show you an extension just now that does breakout rooms. That's going to change as well when Google does their updates we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. But this is still going to be super useful when it comes to those different Google Meets. Maybe I'll bring it back. I think there's a lot of requests to bring it back, but I use this all the time. I'll fix that before we jump into the real slides.
No problem.
The links and everything are correct, though. And that's how it goes. You got to make mistakes somewhere.
Yep. Flexibility and moving forward.
Exactly, and apologizing.
Yep. Yes.
Have you seen WikiTube?
I have not, and I just read that little headline right now, and I am intrigued on what this means.
I'm going to load up Wikipedia on my other machine, on my other screen quickly. But what WikiTube basically does is it adds a YouTube search to your Wikipedia searches. So if I am here, there's Wikipedia. Okay, and I can do a search. Let's search Google. Usually safe. And when you do the search, do I have it installed? Oh, I don't have it installed in this one. That's not going to help us much. Close down. come across, go to my other account. This is what happens when you have too many accounts. Let's try that again. WikiTube. Oh no, Wikipedia. There we go. And Google. So when I search Google and Wikipedia, it'll load that. And of course, today it's not going to work for me, is it? No. Why is it not working? Have I switched it off? That would be bad news. WikiTube. I can't spell anymore. You see, getting a bit flustered. There it is. Oh, no, it's on. What else can we search? World War II. It's just not going to work today because it's going to be that sort of thing. Anyway, it does work usually, but what it generally does is it sticks all your YouTube videos along the top here. So everything that links to your Wikipedia will have YouTube videos on it. I'm going to try that in the background, and when it's fixed, I'm going to come back to it. It's obviously my internet is playing up, so I apologize for that, but that's how it goes. It is really awesome. So go find it, install it, and try it out. But that's how it works. But it puts YouTube on top of your Wikipedia and builds it in. Unless I've changed the code, but I did use it about a week ago. It was working then, and that's why it's in the slideshow. So let's come back to that one. I'll get it working in the background. So long. C'est la vie.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually flustered me. I'm not going to deny. But like I said, things go wrong, and I'll get it fixed now. The next ones are coming up to what we spoke about earlier, our extension managers. Like I said, CPU usage is hectic when you're installing. And what extension managers allow you to do is switch those extensions on and off as you need them. You spoke about another one, that's Extensity. It does the same thing, so I'll stick with this one. And what you can do is just switch the extensions on and off as you need them. Do you want to talk a bit more about those?
Sure, I can. So with Extensity, it sits up in your, and you can pin things now in your extensions too. There's a little puzzle piece on the top of your browser that manages all your extensions for you. And a lot of the times you can see when someone had a lot of extensions that it would take up almost all of that space for the Omnibox in Chrome. But now there is a little menu with the puzzle piece, and you can click extensions, and you can choose the ones you want to see by clicking the little push pin. And so I only have maybe 3 extensions pinned at any time. I have a weather one that I like to see the current temperature and conditions outside. I have it's called clock for Google Chrome, which is basically a digital and analog clock. So I'm one of those people that likes to hide the toolbar when I'm on my PC or the taskbar on the bottom. So I don't always have that clock sitting in the corner, but if I have it sitting in my extensions, I love it. And Extensity is the one that I always have pinned at the top. Okay. So Extensity, if you click on the extension, the little circle, you can get an entire list of every extension that you have installed on your browser. And with one click, you can turn them on or turn them off. And so if I need a particular thing, like let me pick just one here. Oh yes, color pick eyedropper. So when I'm
do you want to just show your screen?
Sure, I can do that. That way. I can do this. And we'll just put this on here now. So you can see I was looking up WikiTube. Yeah. So I have Extensity sitting up here in the corner. I'll go ahead and click on it. There we go. And you can see all the extensions that I have installed in this list. And there are things that I have turned on and things that I have turned off. And you can see I have lots of extensions. So there are things that I don't need all the time, especially right up here on the top, one-click timer. When I was in a classroom and having a very limited amount of class time because I was a specialist, I would have to set a timer for every class to remind us when there were certainly like 5 minutes remaining, and we would have to start our cleaning up procedures. But right now I'm not using that, so I figured I'd turn it off to save some processing power. All I need to do to turn it back on is give it a click, and then it brightens up and it shows that it's there. So then if I click in my extensions window, I can see one-click timer, and if I want it to show up on the bar, I just click this little pin and then it shows up.
And that's really important for people to realize the difference between the two. That one is installed by Google, the one you just showed now, and that allows you to pin extensions to the bar or take them off the bar. They are still running in the background. So they're still loading, they're still working. The Extensity and the extension manager that I showed actually switch them off. So they're not running in the code anymore, and that's the difference. So the Google one doesn't switch them off. They're running in the background still, and the extension managers do.
Yep. So all of these things that I have here are running, all extensions that I'm using. But I do have more of them installed that I can use or see using Extensity. And I can get into the settings of any of them just by clicking the little gear.
Yeah, very handy. Very, very handy. Yeah, I see Miss Lowe is commenting that her computer slowed down because she's been installing extensions. So if you install one of these extension managers, grab your phone, pull out a QR code reader and grab one of these. Like we said, there are 2 of them. There's actually more than 2. There's lots of them. These are just 2 that we know and have come from the moderators. If we'll put those QR codes up in a few seconds again, and just grab one of those and play with it.
Yep, and you can have different profiles on this one too, kind of like what you were talking about with your Tabcloud, is that you can have different sets of extensions that you can turn off for different situations. Or there's this lovely little button right here that you can turn all of them off or all of them on at the same time.
Excellent. I'm Googling why my WikiTube's not working, but if you show my screen, let's clear that one.
There we go.
Well, my one, similar. What I really like about this one is it goes to your extensions, but then if you go further down, it also looks at the apps that you've got installed. So you can switch those on and off as well. So in your apps, when you click on the apps button here, there'll be a whole lot, and you can sort of customize your apps for that as well. So this does extensions and apps. So it doesn't do the separate profiles, but again, the use cases, like we say for Chrome, are specific to each person. So do use the one that works for you, guys. That's basically what it comes down to.
There's another one called Switcher, maybe, that some people have used. So there's always a chance for different extensions to do the same thing. And like you were saying, you just need to find the one that works for you. And I think Extensity is that one for me, but just because I have the familiarity with it and have used it the longest.
Absolutely. And that's the really cool thing about Chrome. Like we said, you customize it for what you need. All righty, moving on. Have you tried Insert Learning before?
I have met the developers and creators of Insert Learning.
I think I need to meet these people because this is one of my favorites. This allows you to add questions and all sorts of stuff, comments and videos and everything to actual live web pages. It then creates a link to those web pages, and your students can go there, answer questions, be guided by you, take notes, all that stuff. You can drive them through a website. I use this a lot in Scratch with specific examples. Not through Scratch itself, but through the Scratch blog, where people are commenting, and I can ask kids to comment back and answer questions without them going publicly on the web, which is quite nice. I see their responses and what they're thinking without the whole world judging them, which I quite like.
Right, and this would probably be a great tool if you're doing any sort of online or distance learning still.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me, in my opinion, we'll be doing that for quite a while still. Specifically in South Africa, we're looking towards the end of the year with some sort of hybrid model, and we'll just keep going. So this Insert Learning really just sticks whatever you want into the websites that you want. And like I said, we'll see how time goes and maybe do some of these live. And like live, it'll probably fail, of course, like my WikiTube. But Insert Learning is just amazing. And you get some of that information back from those students as well. It's not just lost in ether. You'll get some report back on that as well. You said you met the developers. Where are they going next?
That's a good question. I don't know. They were called, I believe it was Docent EDU. And they were giving away coffee cups and sponsoring one of the ed camps I went to in Minnesota in the United States. So just to clarify for anyone watching out there that might be from elsewhere, they were awesome. They were teachers and said we need this functionality, and so they figured out how to build this functionality into layering on top of any website. So it's a really neat tool.
It's a super tool, and when I found it, I was like, "Oh!"
My problems are solved.
Yeah, we installed this across our domain, so even the teachers that don't know they have it at our school.
Mm-hmm.
And as I do PDs at school, this is one of the first things I show, just because it makes it so interactive. Okay, moving on, especially for Tammy. Had to do this one for Tammy. Her favorite thing, Bitmojis. With the Bitmoji craze, you can't ignore the Bitmoji extension. It's there, and it's just part of the deal. And literally, you can pull your Bitmojis in by clicking on that. It loads your Bitmojis, and you just drag and drop them onto wherever you want. You can copy them, you can paste them, you can search through them, and you can pull them on. So, just for Tammy, I thought we'd throw that in there.
Yep. So, yes, you do have to set up your account with Bitmoji on a mobile app elsewhere before you can log into the extension and have it work. But that's a pretty easy step. Yeah,
and even worse, you can actually build these. Bitmoji will install into your Gmail as well, so you can pull them straight into the Compose window. So yes. Tammy's got a whole bunch of email coming her way with Bitmojis on it.
Yes. I should have made her a Bitmoji birthday card yesterday. I wasn't thinking.
I didn't think about it either. I just did a plain happy birthday. So if she's listening, happy birthday, Tammy. Hope you had a great day.
Yes.
Excellent. So the quick whiz over Bitmoji just for Tammy. This is one that you said you were using.
I am using OneTab. It's helping me out in my job search, honestly, because the amount of tabs I had open with different learning things and different job applications and different job searching websites, I said, I need to save all these, but I don't want to keep opening and closing the browser. And what if things get lost? And then there was a job I wanted to apply for and I will lose it. So I installed the OneTab extension, and with one click, then all of them consolidated into one list. I could label it, and then they were all there for me to look back on and say, oh yeah, I need to get back to this.
Yeah, well, and also again, when we talk about CPU usage and power consumption, if you've got lots of tabs open, your computer's going to slow down a lot. This puts them all into just a list, and they're still live. You click on them, it'll open the tab for you again. But you can also share those lists. So you can make a list of 5 or 6 and then share a link to those, and anybody else can click on that link and get those tabs that you have open as well. Again, with students, that's great. I just post that link into Google Classroom, and they click on that, and they get the 4 or 5 websites they need to be in on that lesson. Bang, just like that.
Yep.
And so it's our matrics, as we call them, year 12s, probably for you guys, the guys in their final year of school, when they're doing the research projects, they use this as often as possible because it just saves everything for you. And actually what it'll do, if you've got it set up, is if Chrome crashes or anything, when you reopen Chrome, one tab will open with all those previous tabs. Instead of using the restore tabs function, they'll be there also. So one tab, that's the way to go. And
I love this. Going extension crazy. That's why we call this Extension Mania.
Exactly.
For sure,
yeah, like it says, 95% of your memory because you've reduced the number of open tabs. It just makes Chrome a smoother experience. Awesome.
Perfect. I'm just checking to see if we have any other questions, and I'm not seeing any. So let's keep moving.
Going. We're getting there. This is one that I found, and I've chatted to the developer via Twitter a few times. This is Classwork Zoom, and it is a paid service, but there's a free version that you can plug into. What this does is it looks in your classroom, finds all the revision histories for every kid in your class, and puts them on a timeline, so you can see exactly when that kid has accessed the document, what work they've done on it, if other students have jumped onto the document, so if they've shared it outside of their own email, and it gives you an insight into exactly what the kids have done. So first of all, are they engaged? So it shows you how long they spent on the assignment, the amount of time, how often, is it only during class, or do they pop in at home, or have they done all the work in the last minute? It checks that they're managing their time, which is what we just said. Are they doing their own work when they're individual assignments, or are other people doing it? And then if they're doing group work, it'll even show if they are all contributing evenly. So it'll give a percentage of who's doing what in classwork. So this, I have to say, only works if you are doing Google products. So if you post a website or a video, it's not going to show up on this. This will show you Google Docs, anything with the revision history. So it won't show you Google Sites because there's no revision history there. It will show you docs, sheets, slides, drawings. Do drawings have revision history?
I
don't know.
That's a good question.
Check. I assume you're checking. But anything with a version history, you'll be able to see it from your students. I haven't used this. I haven't used Docs in a while in my classroom, so I'm not going to demonstrate this live. But go play with it. It's just the function, and they keep developing functionality. They take feedback really well. I think the guy's name is Dave from Zoom, Classwork Zoom, and this has got nothing to do with Zoom, the video software. This is a Zoom into your classrooms. So you can choose a whole class, you can choose a specific assignment, you can choose a specific kid and actually get a breakdown. So you can draw right down into what a kid's doing on the documents that you've shared with him.
That sounds pretty amazing.
It is paid. So it's something everybody needs to realize that for this sort of functionality, they are developing it for a fee. But they will give you a trial period, and if you find it useful, it's really worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're a Google trainer, they will give it to you. Just to let you know.
I'm going to have to look into that, I guess.
So all the trainers out there, if you haven't used it, they will give it to you. You just have to send them proof that you're a trainer, and off you go. If you're not a trainer, you'll be paying for it. So just to let everyone know. Okay. A distraction-free tube. This is recommended by Joseph, one of our other moderators. And what this does, it takes off comments, disables playlists, takes autoplay, all that sort of stuff out of YouTube. And when kids are watching YouTube, they see the video that has been sent to you, to them by you. We have installed this since Joseph showed me it, because I didn't know about this 2 weeks ago when I started this presentation. We've installed it across our domain, including all the kids. Again, remembering it's only the kids who are using Chromebooks or Chrome. Our iPad kids obviously don't use this. We use Safety Tube for that, or Safe YouTube. There's a couple of those, but this is really cool. It's just nice and simple for when you're sending out those quick YouTube links, and when it's on, it's on.
I'm gonna have to look into that one too.
Yep, I've been playing with it since Joseph told me about it, and it's one of my favorite new ones. And there's always new ones, so it's yes. Good to have favorites. Cool. Excellent. We're going to go a bit faster. Adblock for YouTube does more or less the same thing, but this one is specifically for blocking adverts on YouTube, those pop-up ones, but it does interfere with other sites, so just be careful with that. So it blocks those adverts that slide across your YouTube, or just are built on top of YouTube, so it blocks those adverts. I'm not sure if it's built by the same guys who do the Adblock extension, but again, Joseph showed me this one, and it looks awesome. I've put it on. I have YouTube Premium, so I don't get adverts, so I can't really test it. So if anybody's out there looking at this, why don't you let us? Ms. Lowe, say what again? I'll say it again if you ask me. I think she's talking about distraction for YouTube. Another one that's built on top of it is Checker Plus for Gmail. This one installs up at the top here. When you click on it, I don't have it installed right now. This is one from Joseph. I used it a while ago. I found it quite intrusive. He loves it. So like I said, it's customized it for yourself. But when you click on it, it pops up a window with your Gmails on top of whatever you're doing. So you can quickly check your emails, come back to what you're doing, go back and forth. I kind of, so Ms. Lowe, Classwork Zoom, I believe, and if you're a Google trainer, you will get the paid version for free. So I'll follow up and I'll put it in the comments later on this event, any contact details. I've just got to check my emails for that. But I have the full version, and I'm pretty sure I got it because of that. This Checker Plus is on top. I didn't like having my Gmail always accessible to me because sometimes I want to be distraction free. So I have it installed, but it's switched off with my extension manager.
Yeah, I think the benefit, I have used Checker Plus, and I think that the benefit for me was knowing whether or not I had a bunch of new emails to look at. But I see in your bookmark bar, as well as mine, I have the Gmail link, but I've just taken away the text label. That does have a number that updates on whether or not you have new emails.
You need to switch it on, though. It's not on automatically.
It's in the labs, or whatever they've called it now. Yeah.
Add-ons now, but same thing. You just switch it on and it's good to go. Okay, we're going to carry on. Screencastify, and there's others. There's Loom, there's Screencast-O-Matic, there's a whole bunch. OBS does it as well, but I like Screencastify so much that we bought it for the school. They call themselves the #1 screen recorder. All the stuff that I've put onto these slides is straight from their Chrome Web Store profiles. So I haven't written these. I've just copied what they say about themselves, which is good, I suppose. But I just like the simplicity of Screencastify, the way you just click, launch, and go. So if you're looking for a very simple, very easy screen recording software that's really quite robust, this is definitely the way to go. And it's saved to your Google Drive, which is amazing. Cool, 40 minutes in. Let's get going. Oh, we're coming towards the end, so we can have a little demo maybe, or we can cut it short. These are my honorable mentions, and there's a whole bunch of them. I added the Meet extensions just this evening while I was thinking about it because it's such a big thing right now. Going through it, Edpuzzle. If you use Edpuzzle, this is a great way to get to Edpuzzle quickly. It then takes you to the website and does Edpuzzle. For those that don't know, Edpuzzle allows you to add annotations, voiceovers, questions to YouTube videos. It also strips all the adverts out and makes it a standalone link. So it's a great way to check if you're doing a flipped classroom model or if you're teaching from home, that kids are engaging with your videos. I generally put 2 or 3 questions in, not a dozen. They can't skip forward through the video, which I really like. You can't skip forward through an Edpuzzle video. You can go backwards and watch as often as you want, but you can't skip forwards just to get to the questions and answer. You have to watch the video. I also like, we have in South Africa 11 official languages. So we get teachers to record over some YouTube videos in the other languages, isiZulu, Afrikaans, some of the other languages, and they can then explain that video in their colloquial language. So if you're from Canada, you could take a YouTube video in English and translate it into French yourself by doing a voiceover. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really cool. Flipgrid, I think everybody knows. This just allows you to get to Flipgrid quickly. Click on it, you're in. You can also go and check your classrooms or your grids. I believe they're busy renaming them. Am I right? They're not going to be grids anymore. There's a whole lot of updates happening there, but it takes you into Flipgrid.
Yeah, so many new things that I don't know.
Absolutely. Record to slides allows you to do sort of Screencastify style videos on a Google slide. So it inserts a video that you can record yourself onto a Google slide. So you can have multiple videos.
Heard of before, so I learned something new today.
And we'll post this. The links are on these, so you guys can click on the links. I didn't have time to do all the QR codes because these were things that I thought about as I was going through what we were talking about tonight. The next two, Equasio and ReadWrite, are two by the same company. Equasio will let you insert maths into Google Documents and into Google Forms. It's free for teachers, so is ReadWrite, but is paid for students. So you have to be really careful if you're using these. And the Equasio specifically is limited to a couple per day. But if you a full-blown math teacher, you'll want to buy the full one. But if you're just inserting math every now and again, and it does really powerful stuff. What's really cool about Equasio is you can actually say the sum, and it'll put it created for you, which I think is really awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's by an Irish company. I've met the guys from this company. Jamie Bell is one of them. He was in South Africa with his boss. I can't remember the other guy's name, which is really terrible of me. But this specific company was started by a dad whose son was dyslexic, and he was looking for tools and couldn't find them. So they developed ReadWrite. for kids with reading disabilities. And Readwrite will highlight, it'll help autofocus, it'll guide kids through reading. It's just got a whole bunch of tools that are absolutely incredible. Those are both paid apps, but worth every cent in the right situation.
That's Text Help, right?
That's Text Help. Yeah. Exactly, based in Dublin. And they are developing other products. So just go to their website every now and again and have a look. I think the mission that they're on is amazing in the first place, but the fact that they're just nice guys also is a reason to have them up there in my top extensions.
Yes.
There's Google Keep. We talked about that, so I'm going to skip that there. And then coming towards the end, all those people who are looking for all the functionalities of Zoom for Google Meets, they are coming. But since they're not here yet, I thought I'd go through the ones that I'm using. Starting with Push to Talk. Push to Talk allows changing your space button or any key that you decide. So you could use M, you actually set the key and it'll mute you. And so instead of having to hover, find and hang up by accident, which so many people do.
I've done that
before. What you can do is just use the space bar. I use my space bar, but you could use M for mute or F7 or whichever key you decide to be your mute button. You can just switch on and off with that. Nice, simple, clever extension. There are a few others. This one just I know works, so that's the one I'm talking about. Breakout rooms is pretty cool. What you do there is you can create breakout rooms for your classes by using your calendar. It takes a bit of setup, but once it's there, you can assign kids to breakout rooms, or it'll auto-assign them, and you click go, it'll send them in, and you click come back, and it'll send them back. It does change the look of your Google Meet a bit. There's some garish colors and everything, but it works really efficiently. It just takes a little bit of setup. And lots of people I know are looking for breakout rooms, so this is something that I found very useful, and but we've got about 10 staff using it at school now, and we found it about a month and a half ago. So it's also great if you're distance learning to have that group work aspect.
Sounds like it'll be really helpful. We'll see what happens with that is when the updates come rolling out. We'll see.
Well, the thing is, this might stay live because the breakout rooms is part of the Google Suite for Enterprise.
Okay.
So it's not going to be free.
Okay.
So you might find this will still stay around for those that don't sign up for the $4 per user per month option. So yeah, Grid View. It's a bit broken right now, but it's such an invaluable thing. Google are changing so much of the code that the guy who's coding this isn't keeping up right now. He'll get there. But Grid View allows you to see your Google Meets as a grid of more than 16, right up to the 250 limit. Like I said, it is broken right now as Google changed Google Meet. The code is changing all the time. So what I believe is this is going to stay stabilized until they've stabilized Meet. The Meet is only still going to have 49 or 50 tiles. So if you are doing bigger Google Meets, you will still want Grid View, and you'll still want it to work. So you can see 100 or 110 or 250 people if you really wanted to. You'd have to have a really big screen for that.
They'd be very small. I think there is an extension out there right now called Grid View Fixed. That has a green logo that's very similar to this. And honestly, it's an interesting experience how I know the original developer of GridView, through a comedy troupe in Canada that I would watch their streams sometimes. He was a friend of theirs, and anyhow,
amazing. Yeah.
Anyhow, he was coding this all on his own and did so many updates so quickly, especially after everyone went to distance learning in the United States, and said he was working on this nonstop outside of his other job, job that he has.
He's a full-time teacher, I believe. That's what I've heard. Maybe not.
Last I knew, he worked for Twitch.
Oh, okay. So, even better.
Yeah. So I can totally understand how you would get burned out on update after update after update every time Google changes something. But the code is live on GitHub, and I think someone has taken it and made that extra fix now. I just tried it last night. It did work.
Okay. I tried it 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and it didn't. So they've obviously fixed that as well. It's a green icon. It looks exactly like this. It's just green. And they have said that as soon as it's Mark, isn't it, who does Grid View?
Chris Gamble was his name.
Chris Gamble. Chris, and he does lots of code. He's got some pretty cool stuff out there. As soon as he fixes it, they're going to take that fix one away. so as not to step on toes. Next one, there's a whole bunch of these. This is the one I like. It's Meet Attendance. For this one, you click on the People tab. Once it's installed, it opens a Google Sheet and it takes an attendance of the people at the meeting on a Google Sheet. If you click on People again, it does attendance again. So what I generally do is take a beginning, middle, and end of a lesson to make sure the kids are there. And then I use a count if function to make sure they're all there 3 times. And then I know they've been through the whole lesson. And your Google Sheet can be manipulated however you want. Download it into your LMS, however you want. If you do attendance that way, it works really well for me. I also like the Apple for Teacher logo.
Yes.
Very classic. Another thing that's missing from Google is reactions. One warning here is that it has to be installed on the client machines as well. So your students have to install this as well. So if they're using an iPad, this is not going to work, or a mobile device. But if they're using a Chromebook or a PC, a desktop, Mac sort of thing, everybody installs this, and you can see hands up, you can see thumbs up, and a couple of others that I'm sure that'll extend as well. Have you used it?
I have used it just to test it out. It worked well. It popped up the little thing in the corner that said, so-and-so has a question. That seemed to work really well.
Yeah, I've used it a bit. Obviously, lots of our students have iPads, so it's not a huge thing, but and then they feel left out. So I try not to push it too much, but I did test it. The one I really like, though, and this is something that I picked up from another member of the group who posted a Bitmoji classroom-style extension one. And although I was using this cursor, I never thought of it that way. So what she suggested is that by using these, you see the cursor more easily. So right now, when you're presenting, you can barely see my little cursor. And what you do is change your custom cursor to something big and colorful. And when you're presenting to your students, they can see what you're pointing at. And I really like that idea. So I've thrown it in there. And I think her name was Claudia. I will check it and I will acknowledge her. I just pulled this in and I thought it was a great idea. So I thought I'd share it with everybody here and shout out to her for sharing what she's made as well. It's a really great Google slide deck that she shared as well. So it's really cool.
I'm going to pull up that Google Sheet, the form responses that we found from when we put out the survey, and see if there's any extensions that we missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me 2 seconds. Probably a little longer than that.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to try to find that post by and give proper credit where credit is due, which I think is the right thing to do. So let's go into Teachers in G Suite for Education, Home, Search. Where's my search gone? Oh, there it is. I love it when Facebook misbehaves.
Right. It knows you're trying to do something while we're live on video.
Exactly. Reload. That's the way to do it. Let's go back to StreamYard. So we've had lots of comments from Ms. Lowe, who I assume is a trainer. I hope she's enjoyed this. Please feel free to use this. We'll be sharing this slide deck with everybody as a copy. Grab it, share it with teachers. That's the whole point of what we do here at GEG Virtual, as we are now called, I think. And feel free to share it and pass this sort of information on to whoever you need to.
Lots of suggestions for the Google Meet attendance for Screencastify, saving to drive and keep. One that I see here in the list that would be another sort of a Google Meet extension, but not quite. One that has been suggested quite often is dual lists. So if you are a person that does not have the dual monitor setup, you can use that to kind of split your screen, your windows, and make sure that you can see what you want to present as well as seeing the people in your Google Meet.
Yeah, so what I'll do here, let's go to my apps, and because we finished with that presentation, I'll show people as you go through that list where to find them. So basically you go to your Chrome Web Store, so you click on apps, click on Web Store, and you we'll search now for dual lists. I think it is two, oops, what's happening?
The person who submitted it does have 2 L's in it.
Oh, really? One word? 2 words?
One word.
There it is. Dual list. So what that does is basically it'll give you a dual monitor. And it doesn't have to just be for Meet. It'll split it at any stage. So what I used it for recently is we were doing reports, and I have my Google Classroom with the grades in it, and I have my LMS. They don't speak to each other. So I had one open in one window, one in the other on my MacBook, and I could just copy across as I typed. So it's not only for Meet, which you said, but it's pretty cool. And it's got 200,000 users, so it's nice and safe. While we're here, we were talking about safety earlier. That's something you need to look at. You need to look at the stars. You need to look that they have a website or give access to their actual code. And then by reading more, you can go down and check some of the reviews. If you click on the reviews, it's really a great way to check that you've got a good extension. So all the reviews will be there. People tell you about it, and you can very easily pick up generic reviews or self-related reviews. And especially if they've got a support or contact the developer, you're pretty much going the right way when you're installing a Chrome extension. We spoke about that earlier, but it's a great way to come towards the end of what we're talking about. To say, be careful when you're installing these. They do affect your Chrome. You will have to give permissions to some of those pieces of software. So if you are giving permission into your Google Drive, be careful what you put in.
Right. And I think, your Google Suite administrator can also control, as we've talked about, which extensions teachers and students and different organizations can install. Some districts, they fall on the side of being more open and wanting students to be able to experiment with things and figure things out. I know that we had a couple students a couple years ago at the school I was at, had students all of a sudden finding pop-up ads and all of these things that, my Chromebook stopped working. Well, yeah. What extensions are you installing?
Exactly.
The students who are young don't know this stuff yet, so they're installing things that are like, oh, it's this game, or I can do this thing in extension, and not knowing that it was actually impeding on their browser and causing ads to pop up and all this stuff. So
we had that a lot with Fortnite. Because they wanted skins, so they download skins, and those would really slow them down, or install really bad search engines. That was the worst one. Like, you get to see where they're searching. It's not Google they're searching on. It's something really dodgy. So it is careful. So what we've done at our school, and nobody has to do this, but we've blocked it for certain ages and opened it up as you go up through the school, and as they pass through the checklist of learning, when they've learned about this, we open it up for them.
Yeah, because, I don't know if anyone has time to sit there and go through the Chrome Web Store and say, well, what does this extension do? And what does this one do? And that would take forever. There are so many. And if a student would find something that's helpful to their learning process, I'm all for it, letting them use it as long as it's safe, So.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to show you one more, which I kind of like, and I didn't put it in because it's not really. Actually, you could use it for school, but this is just a fun one. So I'm going to open just a news website. You can do this with any website, and we talk about fake news. But there's this extension here called Web Page Screenshot. I don't know if you've seen it. When you click on that, you can do all your normal screenshot stuff, but there's one down here called Edit Website Content. And when you click on that, it creates a little fake news page for you. So you can actually go into it. And what we did for this, I'll give a case use. We went to the New York Times top 10 bestseller list. It's obviously got 10 books, and we got kids to do this. And then they had to put their top 10 favorite books and then take a screenshot of their top 10, but with the New York Times top 10 website. And basically what I could do here is, if I click here, I can change this to news and stuff.
Okay.
So you can't change pictures or anything. and it's not live, so as soon as I refresh the site, it'll go away. But we did this a lesson on digital citizenship, on identifying fake news, and we changed this website. Once you've done this, all you do is go back to that app and you say desktop catcher, or take a screenshot, save screenshot, and you save the screenshot, which is pretty cool. So then we said to them, well, look at this one, read through it, and identify the misspellings and so we did stuff that is common for fake news, with lots of clickbait and sort of stuff, and we created a website for them to start identifying fake news. So there is a use for it, but it's also quite fun to do. I do this in trainings where I put the teachers' names and I say the headline will be Mrs. Whoever has done brilliantly in the training today, and it'll be a little write-up about what we've done.
That's
and
great.
I love doing that sort of stuff. So, and as soon as you refresh, that goes back to normal.
Okay.
So just a little.
That's really neat.
Yeah, it's called Web Page Screenshot, and I kind of like it.
Well, I think we're getting towards the end here, so I'm going to ask one more time to see if anybody has any other comments that they'd like to share or ask, or questions that they'd like to see. And we'll give you a couple minutes here to just kind of wrap up the end of things. Let me look through my list one more time and see if there's anything that I really want to suggest.
I'll try to find my slide again because I did close it in my excitement there. Where are we? Extension menu. There we go. And we're back.
There we go.
So I hope people found it useful. I'm not sure who watched and where watched. And the nice thing about this is it's recorded, and hopefully people find it useful in the future.
Absolutely. So if you do have any questions, I'm not seeing any pop in right now. So if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment either on the YouTube video or on the Facebook post itself. And we will make sure that we do our best to answer questions or get in touch with you if you need more support for learning all about extensions.
Excellent, Rachel. I just want to finish with one more thing. I think everybody should know about this. Google is hosting an event in a couple of days' time, 12 or 13 days from now, called the Anywhere School, helping schools who are going back to school. But also, so they've got panels, they've got product launches, they've got demos of the new stuff. Go out and register for that, guys. It looks like it's going to be a great event. So
yeah, we do have that. Yep, we do have that linked in the events in the Facebook group. So if you don't know where to go to get to this page, visit the events page in our Facebook group, and then you can get the link to this website.
Excellent.
I guess one last thing, if there is a live PD that you would like to help present to our GEG, we welcome you to do that. Our calendar and the form to submit for events is at gegvirtual.com/live-PD. And we would love to have anyone come on and we'll host you, and we'll be here to help out. And, anything we can do to continue helping our members in our community learn more about how to use Google in the classroom.
Indeed. And thank you for setting this all up, Rachel.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I
Awesome.
will wish you a great night, because it's what, not
It's just after 10 o'clock.
After 10. Okay.
Did you click on your extension to check?
I could probably do that to see if there's a world clock or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure there's an extension for that somewhere.
Thank you, everybody. I hope it was useful.
Yes, we'll see you next time.
Cheers.